I think it's back. Sorry about that. My camera, I knew that the battery was low on it, but I thought because it was plugged into my computer, it would be charging, but apparently not. Maybe give it a minute to see if anybody else shows up. Oh, we got like 3 people here already. Although that's probably me, Maat, and Mark. Hey, Comic Crack. Hey, Austin. Yeah, sorry everybody. That was a technical glitch on my end. My bad. So I was talking about how I didn't know who designed this, but then I think it might have come from one of the covers that Dave Johnson did. Yes, it did. Came from that guy. So I was just trying to figure out how I would draw him like myself. I don't know, Dave Johnson did a better job. And here is a redesign of this guy. And I think it was inspired by, I think Mignola actually had me redo this, like it, because the in the script it just says that he's like got giant chains on him, and I think Mignola was like, give him fun chains, but not in those words. Yeah, I don't see it. Here's like a sort of a first, I don't know if you can really even see that. It's very light. This was a first stab at that room. Here's like a later sketch I did of it. Oh, and here's another pass at Niche's suit. Now this is the, I was saying earlier I didn't like that his backpack had changed, but here's like the backpack that ended up in the final, like that one. And this is fun. Like I like this kind of camera tech where it looks like components that they put together, like they stuff you could buy from Mouser or something. And then they just put them on their fancy pants suit. I didn't think that working with Mike was very difficult. I thought our editor at the time, Scott Alley, was pretty rough to work with. There's definitely, like, working in the Mignolaverse stuff, there's definitely like it's definitely like someone else's property when you're working on it, you know? Like I wasn't able to make like all the kinds of decisions I really wanted to make. And probably like it's for the best. I mean, I'm not Mike, I'm not Mignola. I'm not going to be able to design a Mignola world if I'm just left to my own devices. And here's sort of a look at just like a Russian soldier. This is in their the Russian version of the BPRD, the SSS, I guess. I don't remember what that stands for. Well, that's a good look. I like that. Oh, and here's me trying to draw some Ogdru hem. Some of these are pretty good, actually. I don't know if they're quite Ogdru, but they're pretty good. Like these two guys are pretty close. This guy, I don't even know what's going on down here, but he could be. Some random faces. Special Science Service. Yeah. I wonder what that is in Russian. Like how we called them the USSR, but they were the CCCP. Here's some more attempts at Ogdru. Sort of a copish looking special sciences guy with his flamethrower. He looks like a pleasant little guy, huh? He's just like happy to be here. And these eyeballs are so close together. And I think this is like, what do we got here? Like, I don't remember. So here is like an email that Mike sent with a sketch for this Ogdru hem. Maybe, you know what? I bet I pitched this and then Mike came back with this, like with an edit of it. You should kind of track. And then how did I end up looking in the book? I don't even remember. I'm not even sure where he appears in here. Man, I've said this a bunch of times, but when I first got into comics, I would listen to interviews with people and they would be like, "Oh, I do not remember who came up with that idea." And I always felt like, "Oh, that's bullshit. They got to know." And but now that I'm making comics, it's like I can totally understand how you would forget. It is like even the best comics never have enough time to really meditate on them, you know? Anyway, so that was, I think that's actually a pretty good illustration of how I would come up with an idea and then Mignola would come back with a Mignola version of whatever I was pitching him. Here's a drunk Ogdru. Ugh. Yeah, was that at San Diego Comic-Con, Mark? Here's me digging into it and Yosef design. And again, I think that if I remember right, this guy was, yeah, he was designed by by Guy Davis. And then I basically took these sketches and worked out this version of him. And the BPRD UN logo. I forgot about that I did that. That's right, New York. He came up with Hellboy in Hell in 1998. I believe it. That's the kind of idea that you would have and then forget and then have again and then forget again and then have again. Just keep coming back to it. This is funny, like this version of Yosef's face, he looks like Toxic Avenger. And this was definitely like the guy that I came up with, that like we landed on. And I printed this guy out because Duncan did that, and I was like, I really liked the way he had drawn Yosef there, so I wanted to be able to reference it as I was going along. Apparently I drew this outfit on something else. 5/18/2011. Some little Yosef stuff. Here's sort of breaking down some of the specific details of his suit so I could try to keep them consistent. Oh man, I really want a Fagredo piece too. Like there was some on I forget who his art dealer is now, but he had some on there that were like some Hellboy pages that didn't have Hellboy on them that were like I feel like they were under $200 for the longest time. And as usual, like I was like, "Oh, that's a lot of money," and then didn't buy them, and now I'll never get another one. Here's the business end of Yosef. There you go. There's that sketchbook page. Printed way purplier. That's interesting. And there was a whole thing about these pipes that like I had it in my idea that this in my head that these were to transport like gas, like air and different like gases and stuff. And I had looked at like oil refineries and stuff to come up with like what that should look like. But Mike hated it, and we went back and forth a ton. And eventually, like we had to meet at San Diego Comic-Con so he could draw it for me because I just was not understanding. And what I did not understand is that he wanted these big sort of cast iron pipes, mostly because they were more fun to look at and they looked more like um, old infrastructure kinds of stuff. It's funny. Yeah, Kelly, I love seeing like the original art right next to the printed version because they're never identical, and it's always interesting to see how things changed through all the mechanical processes. Hey, Austin, are you saying Fagrito used to do sketches with a purchase order? Oh, here's some more work on. Ah, I might have to see if he still does that then. I like that idea. I hadn't really noticed that or I'd forgotten that I had done that here. But they had to rig up a thing to keep his wires from touching the magical chains. 'Cause you don't want to ground them out, I guess. It's funny. That's interesting. So why did I redo this? There's a back end of Yosef, and here's a revised version with a gun back there. It's kind of a cool design for a holster. It's fun. Here's another crack at doing some Ogdru hem. I remember Mike telling me something about like with the Ogdru hem, they should either have a mouth or eyes, but they shouldn't have both. Which would be kind of fun to go through and catalog all the Ogdru hem and see how close people followed that idea. Yeah, what was the final scene in Russia? Does he? Oh yeah, I think you might be right. Like the scene where they go to the farmhouse or whatever. Although I don't think we get to see him draw his gun. Anyway, here's my plan for his scars, so I could try to keep those consistent. And that's what's his name's secretary. From the beginning of issue 2 of Russia. Some soldier looks. Oh, here's me trying to get Abe's transformation figured out, how I was going to draw that. Man, it's funny. Like, I'm really proud of the work I did on BPRD. I think I did some solid work, but they had so many really friggin' amazing artists who all sort of like, we were all drawing the same stuff, and I always looked at their drawings and thought that they were just nailing it, and I was not. Yeah, I guess I did, but also at the same time, they had the Abe Sapien series was running, Which even though it wasn't technically Hell on Earth, like, it was still the same, like, storyline and stuff. Still trying to figure out transition phases. Some Russian scientists. These guys must be from this lab. Yeah. Yeah, these guys. I liked this detail that when you take the top off and tie the sleeves around your waist. Seems like the kind of stuff they would do. Aha, and here's this was how they must have been in the script. Scientist 1, Scientist 2, Murray, Woman, Lazar, Scientist 3, Avil. Oh my gosh, those Fiamara pages. Both those guys are just incredible. I think I always vibed with Max's work better, but yeah, both of them are just really incredible cartoonists. And I think this was my size chart for the Crust Punks. A little Johann. Some zombies. Some more Johann. The Wall of Flesh was fun. It's one of the few times I ever like went over the top more than I was asked to. I remember talking to Arcudi about this, and he was like, because I'm pretty sure the script just described it as a wall of flesh. And if we look at it in the book, it's this stuff. And I put it on both walls and the ceiling and the floor. And yeah, I think John liked that. This is the wall of flesh coming to life. Pretty fun. Oh, and so these zombies are building a nest throne to like summon Ogdru Him in the story. And like, what did that design land on? Oh, it landed on the sort of coral reef looking thing. Wonder if I have a sketch for that. This is me trying to figure out what that would look like. But these looked too normal. Yeah, Wild Flesh does sound like a good metal name. Yeah, more trying to figure it out. Some more zombies. The Ninja Trooper. That must have been what they were called in the script, was the Ninja Troopers. Tons of Ninja Troopers. Trying to figure out what this dude would look like with his visor off. And how these legs would grow back. Mushrooms. This is cool. This didn't make it into the sketchbook section, but this is how their like thing would open up all the way. How those ninja troopers would. Good old Leopold and Cronin. These guys are goobers. Yeah, that's it. That's the sketchbook. I grabbed some of the layouts from the time back when I would sort of ink them. This is interesting. I think people might think this is interesting. I still kind of do different versions of this same thing, but as my checklist for where the pages are. So when I do the layouts, I can check them off as I go, and when I pencil the pages, and then when I inked them. And then I had this sort of thing so I could diagram out the story. So like these first 3 pages, I'm saying it's emotional, tense, lots of body language, and then absolute total chaos, go nuts. And then we switch to where the zombies get scary. Should start out spooky, then switch to scary and gory. Basically, I'm just like plotting out like what like the emotional idea behind each scene is and how it should go. And it helped. It helps you like because when you're drawing page after page after page, day after day, it's like really easy to sort of get lost, in the weeds and it's like it was nice to have this where I could sort of refer back to it and see what I was actually trying to accomplish with each scene. Hey Cam, thanks for joining us. What do you mean, Bo? Like in general, I have hundreds of sketchbooks. Well, maybe not hundreds, but I have a lot of sketchbooks. I try actually not to show them too much because it's just sort of nice to have sketchbooks, like do drawings just for myself for my own working out stuff and not have to show everything. But I think I go through different phases when it comes to working on projects. Like I don't always keep sketchbooks like this specifically. Like nowadays, I don't really keep a project sketchbook like this. Like I'll keep a just sort of an ongoing sketchbook that I put every project in. Um, but this one was explicitly an attempt to do something where I could keep all my BPRD sketches in one place and keep track of them and refer back to them really easy. And it seemed to have worked pretty good. You can see I still got all my little post-its so I could find like, oh, here's my design for Devin, and here's the mold dude, and here's what the field agents look like. Oh, I got you, Bo. No, like, this is kind of it. Well, a lot of these, I pencil and erase and pencil and erase and then ink a final version. But again, it's like a lot of these deadlines just keep you going, so you can't like really pause to noodle for very, very long. You just got to figure out something that'll work and then get going. Hey, congratulations, Max. That's actually a huge, what is that? 68 out of 168. That would be like a third of the way through. That's amazing. There's a lot of, just to answer your question, Cam, there's a lot of projects I would love to have been a part of. Um, but I'd like off the top of my head, I'm spacing on them. And there's probably a lot that that I came close to being a part of, and I probably don't even want to talk about. Like I don't even know if I can or should or whatever. Um, yeah, no, like I got really lucky off the bat to do BPRD because if I was gonna do like before I started this, if you had asked me what work for hire project I would want to work on, I would have said the only one I really want to work on is BPRD. And then I got to do it. And yeah, it was amazing. I still don't even really know exactly why they thought I could do it. A lot of people seem to like it. I think that they could have gotten much better people to do it than me. But I am very, very glad that I did get to do it. And I sure did my best. Yeah, go reread Petrograd. We just came out with the new softcover edition a couple months ago that I think looks great. Oh, speaking of stuff, look what came in the mail today. My advanced copy of the Lonesome Hunters trade. Got a little bit of there wasn't a lot of room for sketchbook stuff, but there's a little bit. But this is like um what I'm really proud of. I was feeling a little bit down um, earlier this week, down on myself because I've been going like it takes me so long to finish a comic nowadays. Like it takes me a full 2 months to do one of these issues for the Lonesome Hunters, and I was sort of feeling bad about it. And then I went back and added up how many pages I've done this year, and I've still done like, oh, I can't remember now. I'd have to look it up. I think it's like almost 130 pages for just for the Lonesome Hunters, and then I colored and lettered 120 something more for Manor Black, and and I did all the artwork for the Harrow County board game that's coming out soon. And yeah, this has been a wild year. I've done a lot of stuff, and I still am super super proud of the Lonesome Hunters. I can't believe that I'm finally writing and drawing my own book. That's cool. Yeah, we'll see what like it really there was so much stuff as far as sketchbook stuff that we could have put in here just because I've been working on Lonesome Hunters and thinking about it for so so long that I just had piles and piles of sketchbook stuff from going back a decade. Um, yeah. Oh, thanks, Kelly. There is some behind the scenes stuff in this, but not a ton. All right, everybody. I think um I think we're gonna call it a night. Sorry about the midstream interruption. That was kind of a bummer, but now I know that that's what happens with my camera. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah, there is some old man and the magpie stuff in here. Nice, Cam. Thanks. Hey, I guess I should say if so this is going to come out in February. So if you have been waiting on the trade, it would really help to pre-order this. Ask your comic shop or your local bookstore to pre-order it because publishers have been really stingy about keeping stuff in print. They're sort of only keeping stuff in print that they know that they can sell. They're not keeping much warehoused or whatever. Um, and it makes it really hard to get a hold of any of the library editions for Harrow County because just they only printed exactly what they thought they could sell. Um, yeah, so if you want to get the trade paperback of the Loads of Hunters, please pre-order it. It would really help out. Okay, everybody. I hope you have a great night or a great day. Have a great day at work, Cam. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next week. Have a good one.